It wasn't just another protest gone wrong. This wasn't just another chaotic night in Los Angeles. This was clearly a trap. And now we got the proof, guys, because for the first time since all hell broke loose in LA, the LAPD just stepped up to the microphone and they told the truth. According to the chief of police, what's happening on the streets of Los Angeles is not spontaneous. It's not grassroots. It is a well-coordinated city-to-city operation, a network of masked agitators armed with bricks, hammers, flashbangs, descended like a military unit, and LA was the target. But here is where this turns from disturbing to something even darker than that, guys, because while this chaos was exploding across LA, Los Angeles, a Fox News crew, guys, they got bombed, believe it or not. I'm not even exaggerating here, guys. While attempting to report near City Hall, a flashbang grenade was launched at a Fox News crew vehicle. Security badge shown, credentials were presented, didn't matter. Boom, live on location, guys. They were told, get back. This wasn't crowd control, guys. This was a warning shot. Now, I want you to ask yourself, okay? Why would a credentialed news team be treated like hostile threats in an American city? Why is the press, yes, even Fox News, now caught in the crossfire? And why, after that, did the LAPD confess that these are not locals? These are trained agitators, people who travel from city to city, and they wage psychological warfare on the public. And here's the twist that the media will not touch. These mobs are waving foreign flags. They're smashing American property, and they're targeting ICE agents. But Democrat leaders, they're not backing law enforcement. They're not protecting citizens. They're not even condemning the violence. They're blaming President Trump, though. That's what they are doing. So California Governor Gavin Newsom, he went on TV and he dared Trump to arrest him. Come at me, tough guy. Those are his words. Those are words from Gavin Newsom. Meanwhile, the streets are burning, businesses are being destroyed, law enforcement is overrun, and the press is under assault. Now, you would think that this is a coincidence, right? Nah, I'm not buying it either. This is no coincidence, guys. So now the media is back in gaslight mode, calling these overwhelmingly peaceful. CNN, MSNBC, local LA anchors lying straight to your faces. You guys are seeing this, right? Well, if you happen to watch those stations. Anyway, meanwhile, Americans are watching their cities get hijacked. It's crazy out here. Also, you got ICE agents being surrounded while a Fox News crew just got hit with an explosive. I mean, just let all of this sink in, guys. They got bombed, the press, and then they told you it was peaceful. How in the world are they saying this stuff, right? So I want to show you guys exactly what the LAPD just revealed, how they were politically pressured to stand down, how Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles are putting illegal immigrants above American citizens, and how this entire operation may have been staged to trigger a federal overreach just to use it against Trump. Unbelievable. Now, if you guys appreciate the news updates, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate your support, guys. He's called it what it is, an invasion. This is an invasion. It's nothing short of this. And now President Trump has ordered Homeland Security, the DOJ, the National Guard to restore order, because if California won't protect its own people, Trump will. So basically what's going on here? Well, is this just civil unrest here, or is this a strategic ploy to sabotage ICE, bait the president, and then destabilize the 2025 crackdown on illegal immigration? Well, stick with me, because I want to break down the LAPD's whistleblower level confession, guys. I want to walk you through this whole timeline of the Fox News bombing, and I really want to just kind of blow this lid off and expose how Democrat leaders have allowed this on purpose in order to protect illegals, discredit Trump, or both. But let's jump in. So let's start with this bombshell that's being buried by every outlet except for ours. The LAPD chief just admitted that this is not organic. This is, in fact, coordinated. It's orchestrated. This is war. His words, right? He said, "We're overwhelmed. These aren't random protesters. These are people we've seen before, city to city, using the same tactics." Let me say that again. city to city. Okay, guys, these are not activists. They're shock troops. They show up in hoods, masked up with military grade training and planning. Not cardboard signs, not chants and slogans. They're carrying backpacks full of bricks, hammers, cinder blocks. And once inside of the crowd, they break them apart and they hand them out like they're party favors. Guys, they're not here to protest. They're here to burn, break, and bait. And here's what the chief did not say, but clearly implied. This isn't spontaneous rage. This is a playbook. These people are organized. They're well-funded. They're trained. And you have to ask, who is organizing these guys, right? Like who's bussing them in? Who's protecting them from prosecution? Because if the LAPD knows these faces, sees them from city to city, why are they still walking around free? Anybody else wondering that? And then, of course, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, the LAPD admits that they're overwhelmed. But it wasn't just because of manpower. It was because of politics. They were ordered to stand down in the early hours. Let me repeat that, guys. They were ordered to stand down. Now, just ask yourself, who gave that order? Was it LA Mayor Karen Bass? Was it California Governor Gavin Newsom? Was it somebody higher up from the DNC? Because while citizens were hiding in their homes and holding their breath, while small businesses were being looted and ICE agents were being hunted in the streets, the cops were told to just wait. Just wait. That's not law enforcement. That's not public safety. That's a political firewall. They didn't want to appear too aggressive. They wanted to give Trump a reason to deploy more federal force. But the result? LA burned down for 3 nights straight, guys. What is going on in California? Oh, and while all of that was happening, a Fox News crew rolled up to a police roadblock, showed their credentials, and then got hit with a flashbang grenade. Yeah, let's talk about that, shall we? So I want to dive into this whole shocking moment, this crazy moment when a Fox News team came under direct explosive fire right in the middle of downtown LA, credentialed and identified, targeted anyway. And trust me, guys, what Jonathan Hunt said after, it's just wild. I'll just leave it to you there. So this isn't just about riots anymore. This is about silencing the press. So you're not going to want to miss what I'm about to share with you guys. Now, if you're wondering if Chapter is worth it, just know that someone in your shoes already called them. Darlene Walraven, she said, Ron, thank you so much for letting me know. Saving me $200 a year and lowered everything. Jamie from Texas saved $600 after getting some real help, no gimmicks. So yeah, guys, this is not just another Medicare call or just another Medicare call center. Chapter checks every plan. They're very complete. They're very thorough. The help is completely free. You have zero chance to lose. Give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Phone number is 909-563-8279 or visit them at askchapter.org/Ron. You are one good decision away from real savings. So now, let's get to the moment that should have made front page news everywhere, but you barely heard a whisper. A Fox News crew on assignment, fully credentialed and in secure vehicles, by the way, they were fired on with a flashbang grenade. You heard that right, guys. They were just trying to cover the story near City Hall. And as they approached a roadblock, not as protesters, but as law enforcement clearance, a flashbang was launched directly at them. It landed only yards away from their vehicle. Now, you tell me, guys, what kind of democracy launches explosives at journalists? They weren't wearing BLM shirts. They were not carrying any kind of foreign flags. They were just doing their jobs. And the response they got, don't even dare. Those are the words that were shouted by authorities on scene. No explanation, no mistake, no my bad, just pure suppression. So you don't fire warning grenades at Fox News unless the chain of command is in total chaos or unless somebody wants the press out of the way. So which is it, right? And if that's the case, that should scare every single one of us. So now Jonathan Hunt, Fox News' own correspondent, gave a very chilling statement after this effect. He said, they're not playing around this morning. The simple answer to us approaching that roadblock was don't even dare. Let that sink in, guys. Like, we're not just dealing with rioters anymore. We're dealing with a lockdown on information. Fox News was hit on camera while the LAPD just stood silent. So if that can happen to the largest conservative leaning news network in the country, what do you think happens next? Because here's the kicker, guys. At the exact same time, the LAPD chief was telling reporters, we're overwhelmed. We're doing the best we can. But where was that energy when the press got attacked? Where was that best effort when, ICE officers were being cornered in the streets? It's almost like somebody wanted this to spiral out of control. They didn't want cameras catching what was going to happen next. And still, the corporate media, dead silent. CNN, crickets, MSNBC, they're calling it a peaceful gathering. I think I saw it on maybe ABC. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody said, oh, they're just having fun watching cars burn. Having fun? Really? The White House press corps, they're pretending it never happened. This is not journalism. It's information warfare at this point. And we're only scratching the surface. Now, stay right there, guys, because we're going to actually follow the trail all the way to the top of California's government, guys. We're talking about Governor Gavin Newsom's public meltdown on MSNBC, okay? His dare to President Trump and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass's outrageous statement blaming the federal government for the chaos. Yeah, they just let the riots burn. Then they had the audacity to blame Trump for the ashes. So now I want to talk about the man that's standing at the center of the storm, California Governor Gavin Newsom. Okay. So while the streets of Los Angeles were filled with masked looters, foreign flags, burning patrol cars, and ICE agents under attack, what did Gavin Newsom do? Well, he didn't deploy more officers. He didn't support the National Guard. He went on MSNBC and he challenged President Trump to arrest him. Those are his exact words. Come after me. Arrest me. Let's get it over with, tough guy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not leadership, guys. This is clearly theater. That is a man who's more interested in clout than public safety. While Americans were watching their businesses burn, while law enforcement was begging for backup, Newsom was playing martyr on national TV. And why? To shift the blame, to make this about Trump's overreach instead of his own failure to protect California. He told the California Highway Patrol and National Guard, do not assist federal authorities. Translation, let ICE fend for themselves. Let Trump look like the aggressor. Let LA burn to the ground so we can point the finger at Washington. Is that leadership, guys? I don't think that's leadership. That sounds a lot more like sabotage, don't you think? And that's exactly what this setup looks like. And it wasn't just Gavin Newsom. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, who was already she's already overseen some of the worst lawlessness in modern city history. Let's not forget about the California wildfires just not too long ago, okay? So LA Mayor Karen Bass, she stepped in with gas can in hand. She took to the podium and she blamed Donald Trump, not the masked agitators, not the ICE attackers, not the arsonists with the Mexican flags. She blamed the president. She said that the violence was a response to federal immigration raids. The armored vehicles and deportation operations are the real source of the panic, that bringing in National Guard would create a sense of chaos. Excuse me? Really? Create a sense of chaos. Really? The chaos was already there, though. The city was already under siege. And she's more concerned about the optics of stopping it than the consequences of letting it spread. And listen to what she said at the end of her statement. She said, we stand with all Angelinos, no matter where you were born. Let that phrase linger in your mind just for a second, okay? Because what she didn't say is what matters the most. She didn't stand with the victims. She didn't stand with the officers. She didn't stand with the legal residents, small business owners, or law-abiding families. She stood with chaos. She stood with open borders. She stood with politics, not with the people. So, of course, got to talk about what President Trump is not taking. And what he's not taking is he ain't taking is sitting down. We're going to walk you guys through the exact official statement from the White House where President Trump lays out what he plans, or more importantly, how he plans on liberating LA. And he reveals why he believes the city has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. But I'm just going to warn you, it's very bold, it's very decisive, and this is the kind of leadership that the left is desperately trying to shut down. Now, here's a quick test. If someone handed you a free plane ticket and said, leave tomorrow, stay as long as you want, would you go? Or would you have to ask for permission first? Would your job say no? If so, that's not freedom. That's a leash. The Liberty Pursuit Network exists to help you cut that leash for good, guys. We're building real income from scratch, building time, buying time back, and we're designing lives where you decide when, where, and how you live. So click the link in the pinned comment down below this video or in the description to join the Liberty Pursuit Network, escape the 9-to-5 grind, and get your freedom back today. So while Gavin Newsom was shouting on MSNBC and Karen Bass was blaming ICE agents, President Donald J. Trump, he was doing what actual leaders do, taking action, not tweeting, not gaslighting, not virtue signaling. He was acting. So here's what the president did say, and I quote, "A once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Not, violent guys. These are violent insurrectionist mobs. They're swarming. They're attacking our federal agents to try and stop our deportation ops. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve." So those are words directly from President Trump. But this is clearly a wartime message because this is not just a crime surge. It's a coordinated insurrection. He has directed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to all take necessary action to restore order in LA. This is a full mobilization at this point. And the goal is clear: to liberate Los Angeles, to expel the illegals, to shut down the migrant riots, and to send a message that the United States is not going to be held hostage by mobs or manipulated by mayors. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. The Democrats are still calling these riots overwhelmingly peaceful. Yeah, you heard that right, guys. You read that right. Even with the 101 freeway shut down, even with the driverless taxis being torched, even with CHP vehicles on fire, even with ICE agents being assaulted, they're still gaslighting us. So let me break that down. CNN says the protesters are mostly calm. Kamala Harris, who, by the way, lives in LA, says Trump is stoking fear. And multiple California officials claim that Trump's presence is causing the unrest. But here's the reality, guys. The LAPD says that they're overwhelmed. The Fox News crew was flashbanged. ICE agents were being hunted. And while all of this is happening, the media is telling you everything's okay. Everything's fine. Peaceful, calm, just passionate voices. No, this is a carefully crafted narrative war. And we're going to go and break it wide open here, because if you think that the lies stop here, just wait until we expose how the mainstream media is helping cover up the true scale of this crisis. So CNN and MSNBC, they're not just ignoring the chaos. They're actually helping to justify it, okay? So I want to break down this gaslighting campaign that's happening in real time, guys. And I'm going to show you the foreign flags being waved on American soil that should have every citizen asking, who are these mobs really loyal to? So let's talk about the media, the so-called watchdogs of democracy, the ones who claim to speak the truth to power. Because while businesses were burning, roads were being blocked, and Fox News literally came under an explosive attack, CNN and MSNBC, they're out here telling America to calm down, that everything was mostly peaceful, that the real threat was President Trump. You can't make this up. While we had flashbangs going off in the streets, while the LAPD was saying, we can't handle this, CNN is over here running live shots of burning buildings next to Cryon saying, peaceful protest continues in LA. Do you understand how insane this is? And you know who called them out? It was actually Kayleigh McEnany, Tom Homan, actual people with real law enforcement and White House experience saying this isn't protest. This is strategic lawlessness. It's designed to overwhelm ICE, to block deportation raids, to bait federal troops into overreacting, and then spin the whole thing back as a fascist crackdown. It's a script, and they're following it to the letter. Even Fox, whose own crew was bombed, barely got coverage on mainstream outlets. And that's the scariest part if you think about it, guys, because if they can silence Fox News, if they can attack reporters with military tactics and then erase it from the headlines, then they can control the narrative completely. So let me also show you something else that got, basically memory hold. Foreign flags, specifically Mexican flags, Guatemalan flags, Palestinian flags, all waved proudly while American flags were being burned. Now, let me ask you this. What kind of protest against ICE becomes a parade of foreign banners in the middle of downtown Los Angeles? This wasn't an accident. This was a signal, because we've seen this before, whether it's radical open border groups, foreign-funded NGOs, or cartel-tied agitators. These mobs know what they're doing. And they're not just protesting. They're using international symbols to intimidate ICE, defy Trump, and dare the U.S. to respond. And we got to ask the hard question here, guys. How much of this is being coordinated across borders? How much of it is actually funded by shadow networks that thrive on American instability? Because it sure doesn't look like a local outcry anymore. It really looks like a foreign influence destabilization campaign. And once again, the media, dead silent. Because if they admit that this isn't just about immigration, then they have to admit who's really behind this. Now, of course, I'm going to break down exactly why this moment is like way bigger than just Los Angeles, guys. Why this coordinated chaos is being used as a weapon to stall ICE, to trap Trump, and crush American confidence, and why ordinary Americans, not the media, not the elites, not the rioters, are the ones that are actually paying the ultimate price. So let's zoom out just for a second. Let's just stop pretending here that this is just about LA, because it's not. This is about America, because the war being waged is not with tanks or missiles, but with media lies, with these rogue politicians, open borders, and orchestrated chaos. And right now, the war has come home. President Trump, he's back in office right now. And unlike in his first term, he's not wasting time. He's rebuilding ICE. He's deploying DHS. He's enforcing immigration law. And that's exactly why they're panicking. Because for the first time in years, illegal immigration is being stopped cold. So what do? They light the match. They let mobs run wild. They turn cities into war zones so that they can blame the man trying to fix the thing, right? And while they're pulling these political stunts, guess who suffers? You do. The small business owner, the mom and pop store, the family that's just trying to drive home from work or from picking their kids up from school, the police officers getting ambushed, the ICE agents outnumbered in the streets, the reporters targeted with grenades and flashbangs. This isn't just about law and order anymore, guys. This is about truth versus propaganda, courage versus cowardice, and chaos versus the Constitution. So let's go back to the question at the center of this whole video. Is this a setup? Well, let's go ahead and line up the facts, right? You got LAPD chiefs, or the LAPD chief, admitting that this is a coordinated op. You got officers saying that they were ordered to stand down. You got a Fox News team getting flashbanged at a police checkpoint. Democratic leaders publicly undermine law enforcement and tell the federal government to back off. The media lies. The foreign flags fly. The mob strikes with precision. So you tell me, does that sound like a protest or a trap? Because every piece of evidence says this was manufactured to stall Trump, to protect illegal immigrants, to provoke a federal overreach that they can use in the headlines. But here's what they did not count on: Trump did not take the bait. He took the wheel. And now the left is losing control of the narrative because Americans are waking up. They see the gaslighting. You see the destruction. They see the setup, and they're done being lied to. Now, guys, if you made it this far in the video, you already know that the truth runs way deeper than the headline. So it's now your chance to spread it. Okay, drop a comment down below. Do you think that this was a spontaneous riot, or was this chaos engineered from the top down to derail Trump and paralyze federal enforcement? Smash the like button, guys. Subscribe if you have not already, and share this video with someone who still believes that the riots are peaceful. Okay, because after this, nobody can say that they were not warned. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.